The internet didn't just break today, it shattered like a cheap phone screen dropped from a rooftop. Because Chrisean Rock finally confessed the one thing nobody ever expected her to admit: she trapped Blueface. And now she regrets it more than every questionable tattoo, every drunken meltdown, and every Zeus Network episode combined. This confession dropped harder than a surprise Beyoncé album and messier than a Kardashian family meeting with no cameras. It wasn't a whisper. It wasn't a leak. It was a straight-up emotional explosion that sent the whole timeline into cardiac arrest. She didn't sugarcoat it. She didn't spin it. She didn't hide behind PR statements or fake apologies. She said it with her chest, loud, chaotic, and painfully honest. The internet went silent for 3 full seconds before exploding louder than Blueface dodging responsibility. Comment sections turned into battlefields. TikTok detectives stopped mid-dance. Even Twitter trolls forgot how to type. Because this wasn't just tea. This was boiling lava. And what makes it insane? She didn't brag. She didn't gloat. She admitted she regrets everything: the trap, the plan, the consequences, the spiral, the chaos, the emotional damage, the generational headaches. Her honesty hit harder than her punches. The truth was raw, messy, and absolutely impossible to click away from. Welcome to Celeb Ruckus, where secrets explode, drama multiplies, and confessions like this rewrite the entire internet overnight. The moment Chrisean Rock confessed that she trapped Blueface, the entire internet turned into a digital crime scene with millions of detectives who suddenly gained PhDs in psychology, relationships, and chaos studies. Everyone's phone lit up like an Amber Alert. Comments flew faster than her punches on a Zeus reunion episode. Because Chrisean didn't make a vague statement, she dropped a confession so raw, so messy, so brutally self-aware that even the haters stopped mid-drag to process it. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't edited. It was Chrisean finally exposing the truth she's been hiding under layers of anger, trauma, and tattooed devotion. Before this admission, people assumed she got pregnant in the middle of the chaos by accident, fate, or drama gravity. But no, she said she did it intentionally. She said she locked Blueface in because she didn't want to lose him. She admitted she thought having his baby would guarantee loyalty, love, and commitment. It was the kind of honesty that feels like someone ripped open an old wound and let the world watch it bleed. The confession didn't just shock people, it exposed the emotional hurricane behind her entire relationship. But to understand the weight of what she said, you have to rewind to the golden era of Blueface and Chrisean, when their relationship was more viral than a celebrity scandal and more toxic than a group chat after midnight. This was the era when their fights, makeups, breakups, brawls, and breakdowns became entertainment for millions. They weren't just dating, they were performing. To fireballs colliding, to storms overlapping, to chaotic souls feeding off adrenaline and dysfunction. Every time they tried to walk away, the drama pulled them back together. In those early stages, Chrisean wasn't thinking straight. She was thinking emotionally, impulsively, obsessively. She loved Blueface with the kind of reckless intensity that should come with hazard warnings. She tattooed his name. She fought women for him. She defended him like a lawyer with no diploma. She convinced herself he was the one even while he treated her like one of many. In her mind, the love was real, even if the reality was a disaster. And that's where the idea of trapping him first took root. She confessed she was terrified he'd leave her for someone calmer, prettier, quieter, or more consistent. So she made a choice, not out of malice, but out of fear. A fear stronger than logic, louder than red flags, and deeper than self-worth. She convinced herself that having his child would bind them forever, that it would turn chaos into commitment, that it would transform a man who couldn't stay faithful for 12 hours into a responsible partner and father. It was emotional gambling, and she bet everything she had. But what she didn't expect was the aftermath, the regret that crept into her life slowly, painfully, brutally. Because the moment the baby came into the picture, the fantasy broke. Blueface didn't change. He didn't become loyal, patient, or peaceful. If anything, he spiraled further. More cheating, more disrespect, more manipulation, more public humiliation. Chrisean realized she wasn't building a family. She was building a lifetime contract with a man who didn't want her peace, only her chaos. Her confession revealed something deeper. She regrets not loving herself enough back then. She regrets forcing a connection that wasn't meant to last. She regrets thinking she could fix trauma with a baby. She regrets confusing intensity with love. She regrets believing their dysfunction was destiny instead of disaster. It was the kind of regret that ages a person from the inside, the heavy kind. The kind you feel in your chest when the truth finally wins. When she finally said I trapped him, the internet didn't know whether to cancel her, sympathize with her, or hand her a therapy brochure. Because this wasn't just scandal, it was accountability. She wasn't blaming him. She wasn't shifting responsibility. She was owning her darkest mistake with painful clarity. It made people uncomfortable. It made people shocked. It made people see her not as a villain, but as a wounded girl who made desperate decisions. And just when people thought the confession was the whole story, it wasn't, because the reactions that followed. A whole different storm. The internet didn't just react to Chrisean's confession, it erupted. It turned into the world's biggest stadium filled with fans, haters, conspiracy theorists, ex-psych majors, and people who treat celebrity drama like a full-time job with benefits. TikTok creators grabbed their ring lights like emergency responders. Twitter went into cardiac arrest. And YouTube commentators were already cooking up 40-minute videos before finishing the clip. The confession became a digital earthquake with aftershocks hitting every platform. The memes flew in first, because the internet has zero respect for emotional trauma. Someone edited Chrisean's confession into a Maury episode. Another person made a timeline of her trapping journey like it was a Netflix true crime doc. There were memes of Blueface dodging responsibility like he dodges rhythm in his music. There were memes of Chrisean holding a baby like a Pokemon evolution item. It was brutal, hilarious, insensitive, and exactly what you'd expect from a platform powered by caffeine and chaos. Then came the celebrity reactions. And that is when things escalated into a full-blown cultural moment. Summer Walker liked a shady post. Tamar Braxton commented with cryptic wisdom like she was narrating a soap opera. Love without healing is a storm waiting to happen. Tokyo Toni, a mother of all motherly chaos, popped up claiming she saw it coming like she had psychic abilities. Even Cardi B jumped in with a subtle message about choosing peace over obsession, and fans instantly interpreted it as shade. But the biggest and most chaotic twist? Blueface chiming in. Not with empathy. Not with clarity. Not with accountability. No, with pure troll energy. He posted a laughing emoji. Just one, no caption, no explanation, no tone. Just the universal symbol for I'm petty and I'm loving this. That single emoji became the nuclear explosion of the day. People dissected it like a Shakespearean text. Is he mocking her? Is he hurt? Is he bragging? Is he proud? The internet turned into a classroom of unqualified English teachers analyzing punctuation. But the trolling didn't stop there. Blueface went live, smirking like he just watched the season finale of a show he starred in. He said he already knew she trapped him. He said he wasn't surprised. He said women do it all the time. He said people need to be real, and somewhere in between, he managed to twist the narrative to make himself look like the victim of a romantic kidnapping. Fans dragged him instantly for weaponizing the moment instead of owning his part in the chaos. Chrisean, meanwhile, didn't react right away, and that silence became a storyline of its own. Fans assumed she was spiraling. Others assumed she was preparing a comeback. Some thought she was crying. Others thought she was breaking things. The internet literally tries to predict Chrisean's behavior like she's a stock market chart. And honestly, they're never right. She always does something more dramatic than anyone imagines. But it wasn't just fans reacting. It was mothers. Thousands of them. TikTok moms, Instagram moms, Facebook moms, an entire army pulled up. Some praised her for owning her mistake. Others dragged her for weaponizing motherhood. A few admitted they made similar decisions in toxic relationships. The comment section turned into a global therapy circle mixed with a verbal boxing ring. It was raw, honest, triggering, and unfiltered. Therapists on social media also jumped in, breaking down her confession like it was a case study. They talked about trauma bonding, attachment issues, fear of abandonment, self-worth, emotional desperation, and childhood wounds. People suddenly realized her confession. They said she tricked him like she was some mastermind villain instead of a girl drowning in emotions. These fans treated Blueface like a saint who accidentally fell into drama, ignoring the fact that he adds chaos to everything like it's seasoning. Then came the artists. Rappers started subliminally tweeting. Influencers made reaction skits. Podcasters did emergency episodes. Even Zeus Network posted suspiciously vague tweets like they were hinting at a future special. When the truth comes out, the real story begins. Fans lost their minds, assuming Chrisean's confession would become televised content. Because in their world, everything does end. In the middle of all this noise, a surprising wave of compassion rose. People who usually dread Chrisean finally admitted something shocking. She's growing, she's healing, she's being honest, she's calling out her own mistakes. It was the first time in a long time people saw her not as the meme, not as the fighter, not as the chaos queen, but as a flawed, hurting young woman learning in front of millions. Her confession wasn't entertainment. It was a turning point. Still, the backlash was loud. The jokes were louder. The speculation was the loudest. People wanted to know everything. Was this confession directed at Blueface? Was she apologizing to herself? Was she finally done? Was she preparing to walk away? Was she planning to clap back? Or was this the calm before a storm even bigger than the confession? One thing became clear. Chrisean didn't just start a conversation. She started a cultural debate, a viral discourse, a digital wildfire. But the most explosive fallout still hadn't hit. Because part 03 is where the regret turns into reality, where consequences hit, where reputations shift, where the narrative changes forever. The aftermath of Chrisean's confession didn't just shake the internet, it rearranged it. It felt like the digital version of an earthquake where every tremor created a new storyline, a new theory, a new emotional meltdown. Suddenly, people weren't just reacting. They were invested. This didn't feel like celebrity gossip anymore. It felt like the entire world was watching a real-life cautionary tale unfold in 4K. The vibe shifted from entertainment to psychological. Steady with memes sprinkled on top, Chrisean's honesty cracked something open. And once the truth escaped, there was no putting it back. People started revisiting old clips of her defending Blueface with bruises on her face, tears in her eyes, anger in her voice. They replayed the crazy moments, the fights, the heartbreaks, the screaming matches, all through a new lens. Her confession reframed the past. Suddenly, the chaos wasn't just chaos. It was a girl clinging to a fantasy she created to protect herself from the pain of being abandoned again. And while the internet was processing, Blueface was doing what Blueface always does, making the situation worse. He doubled down on shade. He posted subliminals. He acted like the confession was a comedy skit instead of a trauma dump. His reaction wasn't maturity. It wasn't reflection. It was ego wrapped in pettiness, dipped in arrogance, sprinkled with emotional detachment. Every time he opened his mouth, he proved her point without even realizing it. Meanwhile, Chrisean started explaining the part no one talks about, the cost. The cost of tying herself to a man who wasn't ready. The cost of forcing a bond that wasn't mutual. The cost of raising a child in the middle of a circus. The cost of building a family with someone who wasn't a partner, just a participant. She admitted she regrets the emotional shot she took, not because of her child, but because of the pressure it created around motherhood, mental health, finances, co-parenting, and reputation. She regretted placing a child in the middle of a war zone instead of a home. She regretted tying her identity to someone who treated her like a temporary performance instead of a permanent priority. That regret wasn't petty. It was deep, painful, and brutally human. But the internet is allergic to nuance. So the backlash picked up steam again. Some fans said she was fishing for sympathy. Others said she was finally waking up. Some said Blueface manipulated her into regretting motherhood. Others said she manipulated herself by ignoring the obvious red flags that it became an argument with no finish line, no referee, no logic. Every platform turned into its own debate club full of people who can't even manage their own relationships but somehow know exactly how she should manage hers. The emotional toll hit Chrisean like a truck. She opened up about sleepless nights, about battling postpartum stress, about feeling trapped in a public narrative she couldn't escape, about wanting freedom but fearing it, about trying to heal but being pulled back into old patterns, about loving someone who didn't love her the same way. It was vulnerability on display, and the world finally saw the difference between the fighter and the human being behind the fighter. But the plot twist nobody expected. Sympathy for AGR started trending. People who used to call her crazy started calling her courageous. People who dragged her started defending her. People who mocked her started analyzing her trauma like mini-therapists. It wasn't a redemption arc, but it was a shift. Blueface, meanwhile, faced the opposite trajectory. As Chrisean's vulnerability increased, his credibility plummeted. Every joke he made about her confession made him look colder. Every petty clapback made him look smaller. Every livestream rant chipped away at the little goodwill he had left. For once, the internet didn't treat him like the funny villain, they treated him like the problem. Comment sections flooded with warnings for Chrisean to detach permanently. They said her confession proved she's evolving and Blueface is stuck in emotional cement. It was the first time public opinion leaned toward her growth instead of her chaos. But the confession triggered something even bigger, a discussion about motherhood, pressure, manipulation, emotional decisions, young relationships, and how trauma shapes choices. Real conversations emerged. Women shared stories of trapping men out of fear. Men confessed being trapped by partners. People talked about searching for love through the wrong door. It became bigger than Chrisean, bigger than Blueface, bigger than the drama. Still, regret doesn't fix consequences. And the consequences were enormous. Her relationship with Blueface, severely damaged. Her image, completely rewritten. Her mental health, tested like never before. The internet wanted to know, could she come back from this? Could she grow past it? Could she move on? Could she break the cycle she confessed she created? And in a rare moment of clarity, she hinted yes. She said she wants better. She said she wants peace. She said she wants healing. She said she wants to stop choosing pain in the name of love. This wasn't the end of her story. It was the end of the chapter that held her hostage. But don't get it twisted. This is Chrisean Rock. Her life doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in loops, swerves, explosions, cliffhangers, and plot twists that feel scripted by Zeus Network writers on 4 cups of espresso. And the next twist, already loading. Because while she regrets her past, her future is about to get even louder. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Chrisean Rock turned the internet upside down with one confession more explosive than every Zeus reunion combined. If you made it through this emotional roller coaster without falling off, you deserve a medal, a vacation, and maybe a therapist who specializes in celebrity-induced stress. Because let's be real, this wasn't just a story. This was a full-blown psychological thriller disguised as entertainment. You didn't watch it, you survived it. Before you take your opinions to the comments and start sparring with strangers who type like they're screaming, smash that like button like you're breaking generational curses. Hit subscribe the way Chrisean hits a comeback every time the internet counts her out. And slap that notification bell so hard it starts filing paperwork. Because Celeb Ruckus doesn't drop videos. We drop emotional bombs wrapped in Wi-Fi signals. This is where drama gets louder, truths get messier, and nothing stays hidden for long. Now tell me in the comments, is Chrisean entering a healing era? Or is she just warming up for a sequel that will break the internet all over again? Did Blueface bring out the worst in her? Or did she bring out the worst in herself? And who's really the villain in this saga, him, her, or the trauma they both never healed from? Go wild, I'm reading everything. Stick around, because if you think this confession was the peak, you're not ready for what's coming next. New drama is brewing, new tea is leaking, and new receipts are loading like an update you didn't sign up for. This is Celeb Ruckus, where scandals grow legs. Run wild and never take a day off. Run wild and never take a day off.